Oh God. I put teat. I put teat.
Epoxy interview teeth. I hope there's not going to be any teeth.
No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I changed it. Is the teat off? Did it? Oh my God.
It says test now.
Okay. No, it says test. Okay. Here we go. Okay. You're going to see an Adriana. You're going to be a guest too. So you're going to see exactly what it looks like. Tony, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
That's how I actually start my podcast. All right, I'm saving the changes I'm adding to different platforms, if you can see on the top right. All right, let's move this down. Tony, welcome to the Skull Meatloaf podcast. My name is Ann. We talk
Hi.
about in the Skull Meatloaf podcast about healing on your own terms at your own pace any way that you know how. And one of the things for season 7 that we are talking about is something called epoxy. We're naming it something. We're having a theme. We're doing something here. And one of those things is that I was sitting with this person here who just happens to be
Hi.
it's Tony. It's my lovely partner. One of the things that we were talking about, and we're talking about with a few of our friends, is just that there's these in between things that happen that kind of reactivate us, remind us that we're alive. And we spend so much time, I think, talking about the hard stuff, the things that are difficult, the things that kind of turn us upside down, instead of the times that remind us we're human. If you ever remember that almost like every cell in your body gets activated, every part of yourself, again, you just remember you're alive and human. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wanted Epoxy to do is I wanted to interview, and we're having different kinds of people from different walks of life, from different situations, all across different everything from race and nationality to socioeconomic status to experiences in life and education. Everybody that's going to be interviewed, there's going to be 8 interviewed in total in part 1. And we are actually going to do our test today with Tony. We weren't going to, but we are now. So with Epoxy, and I always, I got to work on having the questions right here. Um, let's just start with you introducing yourself. Tell us a little about Tony, including, we'll give you a little chance to share your socials at the end, but just tell us what you do and who you are.
Hi. I'm Tony the Medium. I am a spiritual medium. I also do energy work, dream work, and tarot pulls are kind of like my specialities. Tarot's more of my newer thing that I've been doing, which I am enjoying a lot. It's a great way, like what is it, form divination form, which is really fun. But yeah, I kind of mostly do the dream work and energy work as well as readings. Energy work pertaining to it's very similar to Reiki. I just don't like saying like I do Reiki because I'm not like certified in Reiki or anything like that. And from what I can tell, slightly different. But yeah, I also I'm under the alias of Nightshade, as you can see my name, Nightshade8898, which is like my more entertainment, where I do a lot of my voiceover work that I'm going to start getting into, and video game streaming stuff like that.
Very cool. And yes, he actually is a blast to watch. He is
Hi,
hilarious. Hi. Who are you saying hi to?
you.
Oh, I was like, who are you saying hi to?
I'm quirky.
And for our Twitchers and our Facebookers, hey, we actually have a couple people in here. Thanks. We are going to start our epoxy interview. We're having Tony do our little, he's my guinea pig. He's doing our little
Yeah.
test today. So you're actually going to see the questions on the screen, Tony, like on the bottom. So as you're interviewing, it says,
Be
how
on the
would you
stage. Hi.
yourself define joy and what separates it from other emotions for you?
Joy for me. My emotions are very black and white, right? I either feel it a lot or I feel none at all. Um, it's very odd. Pretty sure there's probably a name for
It's
for
not
it.
odd. It's different.
Yeah,
Not
different.
everyone's the same.
But for me, the way I define joy is, I always use analogies. It's warmth for me. When you feel, in my opinion, when you're feeling warm, doing something that makes you feel warm, um, just it's like just an overall bright, warm feeling. And what it separates it from other feelings for me again is for me I can really tell when I'm feeling joy because again it's like on or off, right?
Right, it's like
Um,
an extreme, right?
yeah, hmm almost like elation for me. But like, what separates that is my outlook on life is completely different than any other like kind of emotion that I'm pulling. Um, so like when I'm feeling joy, everything's happy, everything's beautiful, everything's gorgeous, everything is bright, everything makes sense, right?
Yes.
Whereas when I'm feeling less than joyful, things are kind of more of a, oh, what's the term I'm thinking of? More pessimistic, I guess, in nature.
No, I definitely know I know what you mean. Well, even just like pessimism or like I always like to call it cynical realism, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
some of us that have kind of been through a lot of stuff. And some people say like, "Oh, are you, tainted versus, and it's kind of like I think full tainted kind of means that you don't see any joy in anything. But I don't actually think
hmm
that that's the case for a lot of us. I think that a lot of us have been through some shit. A lot of
Yeah,
us have been through some stuff and it's taught us about the world and the reality of the world, and that can be different. So thank you for sharing, Tony.
of course.
That's a really good share. Oh, I'm still getting used to this. We're testing it. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do this. I'm learning how to order these because this is a little bit, thanks for being patient with us, everybody here. What did your childhood tell you about joy or small joys? What did it just teach you? Either people in your life that taught you about it or what you taught yourself about it?
um, I feel like a big thing about joy that I learned from my childhood is not taking it for granted, right? Uh,
True.
Everyone always thinks, oh, like, be happy or feel this or feel that, telling people what to feel. And I don't vibe with that. But granted, I am very guilty of saying that sometimes, like, oh, be happy, it's okay, right? But not taking the emotion for granted because it's not permanent. And I think that's a part of the beauty about emotions like joy or like pain or like, sadness is they aren't permanent. And I think every moment that you're feeling a specific emotion, it's almost like a gift reminding you that like who you are and what you
Mm,
are in that moment. Because
well
I feel
said.
like humans are very very fluid, right? And as you know, from childhood, I think the definition of joy changed. When I was a kid, from 1 years old to 4 years old, I was an only child. And then from
Yeah.
there, my younger brother was born when I was 4, and then two
And
years
then
later,
they were
my
born.
yeah, right. And then
All the
joy changed a little bit.
looming lights come in and then they were born.
Where like my joy when I was like 4 years old was being alone and doing my own thing, playing hanging out with my dad or what have you, right? But then when my brother Jesse was born, my joy had come from hanging out with him, taking him around like the neighborhood. We had like a little like wagon. I would take him around, and that brought me joy. Climbing in trees and like had like a new definition of joy.
Yeah.
And I felt like my childhood and just growing up taught me that a big joy is a collection of small joys, and it's ever changing.
Mhm.
The definition of what makes you feel joy will change depending on what you're experiencing.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think a lot of us get the misconception that, like, joy is happiness, right? Or, even I tell people happiness is not sustainable at a high grade or at a high rate or at a high
hmm
amount. It's something that's supposed to come and go. That's kind of like its purpose, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. Now, this is less about like joys, okay? Joys are just heating us up for the moment. It's using language everybody use. But let's talk about an epoxy, Tony. Let's talk about a story, and you're a great storyteller, no pressure. You're a great storyteller and sharing with other people an experience. And this could be a first memory that you have. It could be maybe a time you did get out of a dark place. And I always share, we're not going to share the dark places today, right? We're here to really show and get people to feel in all of their senses an experience that you had that you felt like you were activated again, that you were present, that you saw colors again, that you felt your nerves work again. You're just completely present in the moment. And I had showed it kind of on Spotify season 7, episode 1, and shared about some of that. So this is your time. What is your epoxy that you're sharing with us today?
I say what sticks out to me the most, like kind of brought back that medium for childhood joy, right? And I say like mediums because epoxy, whenever you do epoxy art, medium, it's The epoxy is the medium for whatever you're putting in there, whatever you're suspending, whether it be dye or, a wood or, little sculptures inside of it, And for me, like, I feel like that moment was, I think, in the first like 2 years after I moved here to Wisconsin, we had gone on a road trip up to um, the Upper Peninsula for your, what was it, colloquialism? Um, and just going
Yeah,
through that
the
road trip.
colloquium for Northern
Oh yeah,
Michigan
colloquium.
University. Yeah, you're right. That is what that place does bring
Yep.
something.
Well, it was the road trip in of itself, right? And going up there, it like brought back some old feelings of when I was a kid. We used to go camping every year. We used to go up to Utah from Nevada, and
Drop something. Go ahead.
some of like the most memorable experiences weren't even while we were camping. It was while we were driving. Whether they're bad experiences, being stuck in a car for hours, or great experiences where you see something really cool happen on the road. And like that day that you and I went to the UP, it was like so sunny. There's a couple clouds in the sky. The sky was blue, and like just all the different trees and colors and fields. And like, mind you, I'm used to the desert, so I'm not used to seeing as much green as whenever I came up here. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
for me, like
right.
that's a huge like epoxy, for me, is that brought back that like inner childhood. Like I remember just staring out the window, like my eyes wide. I saw a cow and started crying, like you know.
He did, and he heard frogs and he started crying. He was
Yep.
just like, "Those are real life frogs."
We
And
didn't get
me
to
is
see the
that, and
balding
that's
owl
not
though.
making fun. Feel your feels. Like if you are having that moment, you probably are crying and very emotional. You're probably it's sometimes weeping with connection and joy, not just weeping for sadness or fear, right? I mean,
Hmm.
there's other things that we can feel. What did you like feel in your body when you saw that cow, Tony,
Just
for the first time?
it's weird. Humans, we always ask, what's the meaning of life? We
Mhm.
are blessed with this curse of metacognition. What's the meaning of life? What's the big picture? And I feel like
I heard it's number
epoxy,
9.
it's number nine. I thought it was 25 or 24 or 42 or something like
41. We've all heard something different.
that. But
Clearly, we
like,
have no fucking idea what the key to the life is. No, just go ahead, Tony.
I feel like epoxy is the perfect like kind of like segue into describing like what I felt when I saw this cow, because
Mhm.
cows aren't sentient. They don't metacognate. They don't think about thinking, so they don't think about the bigger picture. They're literally just in between moments.
Yeah. That's
Like, oh, I'm gonna eat this blade of
hashtag be
grass
like a
today.
cow. I think we have a new shirt to make for the website, Tony.
Be a cow.
Be a cow
Just
today.
even like me just saying that, like, oh, I'm gonna eat this piece of grass today. They don't even think about that. They're like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat. I'm tired. I'm gonna lay down.
And they're also
And
just like grateful they had that grass. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like we're sitting
they're
here being
just
like, I like kale. I like
yeah,
kale and
they're just
spinach. And they're
satisfied
like
that they ate. Just satisfied.
satiated with small joys. That's what that's what we like to say here. Be a cow.
Be
Thank
a
you,
cow.
Tony, for sharing that and being, I think a pioneer. I think in season 7 is really starting to understand the importance of talking about these things because I think you and I talk about individually just how easy it is to forget it,
Mm-hmm.
how easy it is in the hustle and bustle and the grind culture to forget those things and to not focus on it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so let's go on to our next question. This is our second to last question. The point of epoxy in my website is I absolutely just love. Oh, Adriana, thanks for the hearts to Tony. We love
Thanks for the
Tony.
hearts. Appreciate you.
um it is. It's really cool because what advice do you give to others about joy? What advice would you give to them about epoxy, joy, small joys? What would you say to somebody? Maybe that's having a hard day and they're forgetting.
Don't stress out so much about not feeling joy in the flavor that you were taught. Um,
Tell us more
joy
about that.
comes
I like that.
joy comes in very, very different flavors, different shapes, different sizes. It's attached to different things and other different emotions. Don't sit there and stress out when you're not feeling joy how you were taught by someone else or how you saw in another situation or how you felt it at a time before. Because if you sit there and you chase that, you're going to miss out on true moments that can become your new epoxy, that can become like your new definition of joy. If you're sitting there looking in the past trying to find that flavor of joy again, or how people say chase the magic dragon, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing, and that's usually with drugs, but that's
You don't
um,
do that. We're not promoting that here.
yeah, not promoting drugs,
Nope.
but that's the biggest thing is like experience joy in of itself in that moment, the way it feels, and like it's new, and I guarantee you'll feel a lot better.
Yep. Even we were talking about yesterday. Who are we watching? We were watching the show Blown Away, and Karen that's on it for that season 4 or something we were watching. I don't remember what
Hmm.
season, but she was just like elated and she was like, I just get up every day and I'm like, fuck yeah, life. Like
Hmm.
she's just and we were sitting there, we're like, God, we wish we had that view
Hmm.
on things. And I was like, why can't we? Why can't we wake up every day and just say, you know, man, like I'm alive again. Like I have another chance at this. And I think that's what understanding gratitude and joy has really shifted for me, especially in the last year when I look at capacity and inner harmony as my two things. It really you start to understand and observe that, like, how much really is in your control and how much mindset can impact how much is in your control, right? I don't try to control others, the things outside of me, I might be impacted, or about by them, but I don't need to be affected by them and they
Hmm.
don't need to consume me. And I can get up every day and say, I'm awake again, and that's exciting.
I'm me again.
I'm me, just like an everyday epoxy. So now, Tony, thank you for being our little guinea pig in our 5 to 10 minute, quick epoxy stream here. And now I'm just curious, how do people get a hold of you, whether it's socials, contacts, anything related? I did put your at the bottom too.
At all of my socials, excluding Twitch because it is different. All my socials are Tony the Medium. TikTok, Instagram, and X, which I need to re-download and re-log back into because I don't use Twitter and never really have. But you can
Hi,
reach me at all
Megan.
those places. And you can find me on Twitch at Nightshade8898. I will be streaming tonight, so if you guys want to see
Yes.
some Resident Evil 4, we're gonna have fun with some zombies. But yeah.
Zambies.
And again, just to reiterate, I do tarot work. I do go live on TikTok every once in a while. I do tarots, as well as I do readings, spiritual readings, and I also do energy readings like cleansings, healing, stuff like that, as well as dream work. Dream work just consisting of seeing what messages your spirit guides have left for you in your dreams, and what we can, how we can use your dreams to heal you.
And what's very cool is Tony and I actually have 2 spots left only. It's about a week or
Yes,
2 away.
two.
2 weeks away. We have 2 spots left only. We have, over half of them taken up. We have 2 spots left for our group collective reading that actually includes my past life stuff that I do and the guardian work mixed with Tony's mediumship and energy work. And we have adjusted. We've sold out the last 5 months that we've been doing it. So I always say, like, nab on to those 2 spots if you can get them, because it kind of just like there were 3 that went right away,
Hmm.
kind of
Like
thing. And
right
then
when
there
we announced it.
right, and then there's just this time where somebody will hear about it. They're like, "Hey, do this with me." And then all of a sudden 2 or 3 are gone because they'll tell their friends and they'll all sign up together. So I always say,
Hmm.
like, whether you, a friend, like, there's 2 spots, please consider it's only $50. We are keeping it at $50. That's going to be our rate moving forward. Um, that is when we say for everything that goes on for that hour and a half, like, it is definitely a fair rate. So if
Hmm.
you're interested in the collective spiritual experience, like, please let us know. And we're going to sign off for tonight because we have to
Yes.
go spend time with our pup and eat dinner
Mhm.
and do our quality time. And then Tony's going to go live. So thanks
Yeah.
everybody for hanging out, and Adriana for bouncing between the platforms and teaching,
Thank
telling
you,
us how
Adriana.
it's going. We love you. Also, Adriana is the owner of My Soul's Journey 11. She is between Tony and her. They're the only people I go to for tarot or mediumship work, anything. And I really recommend both of them.
She's great.
So make sure to go check them out. We have a lot of people within our circle that do really great work. So thanks for coming to hang out, and we love
We
you
love you.
too. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.